Oh, we're going now.
Are we?
It's rolling.
Good, all right. I'm gonna call the meeting to order, it's 7:22. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Yeah. I'll do a short invocation, a short prayer for our community. Father God, thank you for this community. Thank you for this fire station, the firefighters, and everybody that protects all of us in this community. And you have been so good to us with the many rich blessings of all the grants, everything that we've been given to be able to operate, and we're so thankful. Protect the firefighters. Be with us, give us wisdom and guidance tonight as we make decisions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Yeah, roll call. Paul Reardon.
Is absent.
Yep. Mark Bennett.
Is absent.
Absent. Bill Starnes.
Here.
Rob Icola here. David Smith. Here. Steve Rhodes.
Here.
Justin
Justin's
Fox.
here.
Okay. All right, do we have any additions? There's no additions. We need to look at the June budget meeting. This is right now a hearing for the budget meeting, and so we have to look at the June 11th minutes for the budget hearing and approve those. So have you guys had a chance to look at them?
I make a motion to pass on.
Bill, okay. I can second. All those in favor of approving?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All approved. Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to Steve, let him finish the rest of the hearing.
So this is a budget hearing, so it's a separate meeting from our board meeting. We'll go straight into that next. This gives the public a chance to say what they'd like to say about the budget. Well, I haven't gotten any email or phone comments. We've had the video up on the budget meeting and the regular meeting from last month for about 3 weeks now. So, and this has been posted. By rule, we have to post what they call an LB1, which is summary of the budget, in the newspaper. So this was done May 24th, and then it has to be 5 to 30 days before tonight. It also is posted on our front window on our website, and then we just posted on the sign out front that we're having a meeting tonight. Another thing we have to do is by July 15th is, if the resolutions approved tonight, is get, also in your package is a LB 50, which tells county assessor what they're gonna assess, which is .5077 again. And also they'll get a copy of the budget and then a copy of the resolution, and then they copy all that stuff and send it on to the Department of Revenue at the state also. So that's kind of the next steps after this. We had, by the calendar, we had planned 2 meetings for this year. The budget was approved the first meeting on May 19th, so we did not meet June 2nd. Let's see, we have, the copies of the budget are also on the website, and we have them here available for anybody in the public that comes. Let's see, we approved it that night. We had a pretty long discussion. We also had a long discussion about future financing our department. That's probably the major change for our budget this year. One thing about our budget this year overall is going to be about $1.5 million less because the seismic construction is finally over. So that will not be part of the budget. And that's about it. Public comment wise, we haven't had really any public comment other than we've had some talking in here. James Bolton's here tonight, and he's a electee for our position 1 starting July 1st. We've had some comment with him about the future of the finances here in the department. We're going to work a lot more on that. So the next part of it is that the resolution is going to have to be approved in our regular board meeting tonight to approve the budget as it was written, and we'll have to read this in the regular meeting. And it basically lays out, it's the same as the LB1, basically it lays out the fact that how much money we're appropriating in the general fund, how much in the equipment fund, and then how much overall total. Then there'll be a resolution that imposes a tax rate of 25.07 per thousand, and then it's categorized as a tax, section 11B, general government limitation. And then that's the end. As soon as that resolution is approved and signed, then the budget is passed for the next year. The assessor can assess taxes and we move on. That's really all I got to say about that, I guess.
Okay, if there are no other public comments out of the public that's here today, if there are no other comments, I need a motion to close the budget meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, budget meeting is closed. Now we're gonna go into our regular meeting. Have you had a chance to look at the May 14th minutes? Because we have to approve the May 14th minutes. And if you have, can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, May 14th.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and it's approved. Financial report, Bill?
Let me dig it out here. I transferred $10,000 into our checking account. We wrote, I think it was 13 checks. Total expense of $20,895.33. Our checking account balance as of the 9th is $10,129.05. We had $1.27 in interest, and our money market balance right now is $178,925 and a penny.
Hey, Bill, for clarification, is that a negative 10,000, 129.05?
So it actually is not, it's, these checks here have not been,
Oh, okay.
they're not out yet. So the
Okay.
way it always goes is they report last month.
Yep.
And then this
We write the
balance
checks.
is for the next.
Gotcha, okay. I just saw that in parentheses, so I just want to double check.
I want to say what's
So it's in
happening.
brackets.
Yeah.
It's in brackets,
Oh, I
which
see,
typically mean it'd be
Okay.
negative, but it's
I'm
not.
always
so-
looking for the
Yeah.
negative part.
Yeah,
So
that's
what's
okay.
happened is,
That's okay.
just since this has happened, is we have the funds from the state fire marshal have come in, so that's 34,000 that was automatically deposited to our savings account and so on.
Okay,
So
Yeah.
we're actually sitting pretty good.
yeah, perfect.
Thank you for the correction.
No, you're fine, I was just asking.
Yeah.
So no, that looks good. Okay, thank you. Communication report? You or Justin?
They're over, we had over 4,000 views last month. I don't know what's going on. Is that scammers, Justin, or what is going on?
No, so May views was 3,998 views. As of 6 o'clock today, we have 2,150 views, and a lot of that I believe has to do with not only our budget, but also fire season. So once it started getting warm, a lot more people started paying attention to it. Our
Well,
fa-
Can I get clarification? Did you say 39.98 was last month?
Yep.
yes,
Okay, so that was May,
3,998, and
Yeah.
as of 6 o'clock today, we have 2,150.
which is still up, because our average is usually about 1,400, so,
Yep.
okay, great, okay.
I
Most
think
of that
there's
is
been a
fire
lot more interest in it. There's actually a lot of content on it now, so we're
Yeah.
getting people actually looking. It's pretty good, pretty good.
So Facebook I found a place where it does like a past 28 days.
Yeah,
In the past 28 days, we had 19,044 views to our Facebook page.
huh,
And the reach, so like posts, tags, anything like that, is
Yeah.
5,739. Our content interactions, people interacting on our content, like liking it, comments, all that kind of stuff, is 422. And we have 15 new follows in the past 28 days.
that's good for a small community. Good job, yeah, thanks for that.
The majority, so I even found a demographics page, so we're kind of split evenly. So we got 47.70% men on our Facebook page, 52.30% of women on our page. And it even gives a breakdown. We have people, 90 people from Roseburg, 41 people from Winston, 22 from Greene, 21 from 10 Mile, 15 from Sutherland, 11 from Glide, 5 from Tri-City, 4 from Myrtle Creek, 4 from Oakland, and 3 from Coos Bay, for a total of 309 followers so far.
Interesting.
Was sitting in our wildland.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, it's obviously getting used, which is great. So, yeah, it's good. So thanks for all that effort, and I appreciate that. Do we have any other public comments while we're here? Okay, jumping on the chief's report.
Chief's report, May starting to cook a little bit. We had 31 calls from May, 8 medical, 3 structure fires, 2 motor vehicle accidents, 5 natural cover fires, no false alarms, 11 public assists, a variety of public assists, 2 hazardous conditions. One structure fire we had recently was right there by the Lookingglass store. We had 2 sheds back behind the old Niblet house with some exposures. And then we also had a fire in the Green District, a mutual aid fire the other day, a trailer fire down there where our engine and tender responded. That was the same day they had a pretty large fire out on Garden Valley, District 2, or Central Douglas did. And they got hammered pretty fast, had most of the resources out there. So kind of similar to what happened to us last year during our little fire. We ended up going to Green. I think they had one of their engines there originally, plus City of Roseburg was out there. It was all mutual aid because they were just short people that were. So it happens really fast around here. I'm just amazed how this whole system works sometimes, because all it takes is one fire, a couple medical aids, and then something else, and there's nobody on the books anymore, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody to dispatch. We got a lot of training going on, all kinds of stuff. We had a regional wildland event on the 31st. We had over 40 people here. Justin and Bob over here ran that whole thing. It's pretty amazing. It started out more as we were trying to do a task force leader and more higher up instant command type training stuff. A lot bigger operation. It didn't end up that way, but it actually ended up being pretty good because it turned more into the field day. When we do RT 130 every year, which is an annual wildland certification, there's supposed to be a field day that goes along with that for our basic level wildland firefighters. So they got to go out there and cut line, pull hose. We actually did some burning of big berry patches and stuff out there. It was hard getting it going because it was a little moist that morning, but they got a lot of good work. And plus they get to go through all the forms that were sitting on this table are gone now, but they get to go through all the forms the state uses and everything, so it's really helpful for them to get report. These guys have been working really hard on wildland training with the progressive hose lays. We had DFPA out here to do our annual RT 130, which includes doing your wildland fire shelter, getting in your old wildland fire shelter and hiding on the ground. Wildland tool care and use. We had a physical agility test. We got a couple new firefighter candidates in the last month or 2. And what Justin is doing is for people that can't make it on Thursday nights, he's offering Sunday 2-hour training classes on Sunday, which usually mirrors what we're doing Thursday night, unless there's some special subject. So that's been working out pretty good. We're able to catch people up that can't come. We still have the 3 people in the EMT class, so they're not making our Thursday night drills, so they can come to Sundays also and keep up with our training if they want to. Got a driver's operator class we had for qualifying some of our drivers, and there's a lot of webinars going on right now, wildland staffing webinars and stuff that we're required to look at. Justin did a couple SDAO ones that had to do with management and supervision. And one thing I'm kind of proud of is as fire season came on, we had a lot of folks around here burning fire. We were starting to get debris piles getting out of control and taking off. So I had a little bit of outreach where Justin was reaching out to people around town, and Patricia was one of them that benefited from it. We'd go out and sit on their debris piles or assist them with burning so that they didn't get away. And it worked out really good. I think we got a lot of really good public interest, and we got a lot of good stuff from that, a lot of thank yous. some of the folks, oh my gosh, when they're out there burning, it's kind of cringing. Some of the older folks still would be glad to help, yep. So, and I think it solves some problems, so. The firefighters, we got 1852 physicals with Safer still going on. There's 2 new guys who just done it. We have a 3rd one that just showed up the other night that we're getting him taken care of. Some PPE came in, so it's split with Safer and BFA. Lookingglass School had a jogathon this month. We went to that, myself, a couple cadets. Lookingglass Cemetery Cleanup Day, we had a good turnout over there. We're trying to get involved with them too. Appreciate your wife and all her food that she gave us. I think at the end of the day, they put a bunch of stuff over here. Let's see, like I said, we had 1 new firefighter candidate. The last 2 we got, one of them, it has some previous firefighter history, worked for DFPA, and he was here way back, I don't know, 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago as a cadet. So now he's coming back as a firefighter, and has some training. So that we're trying to get him up and running, so they'll be geared up for summer staffing. One of the hard things, and one of the things Justin does around here is paperwork, and to get people recertified after they've been away for a couple of years is a real problem, and he's been pushing that through for these guys, so that's going to be good. Equipment wise, so they still don't have the air valve for 1030, but we're still working. Station air compressor's down. We need to get it done, either repaired or replaced. The SCBA's had their annual flow test the other day with a C West out of, where are those guys, up in Woodburn or somewhere, up near Portland.
Yep.
I'm going to arrange, I talked with Maverick Repair the other day. We're going to do oil changes on the smaller vehicles, 70, 80, and we need, and then the small vehicles we've been running around out here in the next month. Vendors also come down again for PPE to finish measuring anybody else this week again. And we already told that. Current cost for a set of PPE that Safer's reimbursing right now is about $3,350. They've gone up maybe $500 in the last year and a half, 2 years. For the facility, for the seismic thing, although we're pretty much done, the final invoices are, we've been in a back and forth with the state. They were just submitted. There is a discrepancy in funds. I think we talked about that last month, but right around $4,900 of construction was done that wasn't approved by the state and will not be reimbursed. So I'm negotiating with the Vitus, but they had about a $2 million contract, and they're willing to. It looks like they wanted to eat that $4,900. So I hope they do, and we're going to talk about it more as this last reimbursement comes back. Nothing on the CWDG grant. That all happened right when there was a lot of grant stuff with FEMA and everything stopping and then starting again. They have not funded it yet. Our workers' comp, we paid that tonight. One good thing about that was it came out about $3,500, which their initial quote was $4,200. So to start the budget year off, it was actually $700 cheaper. We haven't had any claims for quite a while. I hate to say that, but we haven't. Hopefully it'll stay that way. The website, a lot of activity on it, like Justin said. Fire season stuff's all in place. You guys all know the fire season started. We start off at a moderate level, meaning that you can still trim, no fires, but you can still trim, mow, and all that stuff until 1 o'clock right now in the afternoon, and then after 8 o'clock at night. As far as the elections go, James won in a landslide for the board.
Good job.
Overwhelming. Very popular guy.
I don't think there was even any write-ins, I'm not sure though. He'll be starting at the July meeting, and then Dave Smith's last meeting's tonight, and we're really appreciative of the support he's given us. I know we're gonna see him, I'm gonna see him on Western Road anyway, so. Aren't we having a beach party this summer or something? That was
So-
rumor.
Something.
Alright, there's about $25,000 out for reimbursement through Safer right now. Seems the process is working again, and it seems like it's coming on. I'm trying to get it back in before July 1st, so we'll start off the year with a full bank account again. That 25,000 payroll taxes, EMT tuitions, the physicals that we're getting at the hospitals, so those are all reimbursable stuff. We got the $33,000 directly into our bank account for the wildland payroll, so we sit on that until July 1st. We've got a public records request. I just wanted the board to know about it. I think I might have put something in your packet about it. We have a person on Colonial they're concerned about us participating in drills up at the old dump site, the Champagne Creek Ranch. And that's where we held our regional wildland drill. We do some driving exercises and wildland training, all kinds of stuff up there. And they were involved a lot in the initial, when it got approved and everything, and they're still very adamant about us not going up there and doing anything. He's asked for a bunch of forms and things that we don't have, and we have a whole policy. I brought it out. There's 2 files that are in our book. We have a public records policy in our department bylaws, and so by law we have to respond within 5 days to acknowledge that we got this public records request from them. And then there's a checklist. I go down. Do we have it? Do we have some of them? Do we have none of them? That kind of stuff, all the way down. And then tell him if we're going to disclose or not. I don't have, what he's asking for is nothing we have. He's asking for forms from the Champagne Creek Ranch. He's asking for correspondence from DPSST and Champagne Creek Ranch. And anything we might have in email and stuff, we have nothing. So I'm just going to tell him that I have nothing. And that's my preliminary response to him. So
I got a question. I happen to be on the PAC committee also, and we had a big knockdown drag out about that at one time.
Yeah.
When it shut down.
Right.
The neighbors didn't want, a 4-wheel club wanted to take over
Right.
and use it on Saturday and Sunday and use it as a camping site. And we voted it no, that they shouldn't use it.
Right.
And we won't go into why or where it came from, but I understand it got leased out to a club for $100 a year to use it.
I'm not sure on what it's been leased out to or anything. I can tell you that just because we go up and participate in some of their public stuff, but if they have some really extreme off-road competitions up there. They're not competitions, it's all like rock crawling.
Right.
Like if you're on this side, you'll never know that anything's
Right.
going on up there. And as far as camping and stuff,
That
can't
can't
tell you
be.
that it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I have heard music coming out there once or twice because they'll bring food trucks up there and stuff. But what I didn't want to say to the guy that did this public records, and I responded to him, but he said they are undertaking a lot of fuel modification up there. They're putting fire breaks in, they're thinning the lumber and everything else up there, and then they've replanted what was clear cut by the county way back when. And I wish we're kind of in joint with him and Douglas Electric for the CWDG grant also, because part of his property, we're trying to make a fire break and reduce fuel all the way across the top of that ridge from Colonial to Gem Drive way over there as a future fire break.
And they already do, because
Yeah.
they doze that ridge line for that south facing aspect. They doze that ridge line on their property. So they already do their own fire break.
This is Champagne Creek,
Yeah,
correct?
Champagne Creek.
Okay, because this is the complaint. Is that
Right.
they,
Is they're complaining.
801 complains about what's going on in this.
Yeah. His property backs up to their property.
So their concern with the fire department is what?
That we're going up there and using it, I guess.
And
And also,
using it how? How-
well, by going and doing training exercises up there.
Okay.
And the state Department of Public Safety, Department of
Public Safety.
Standards and Training, they're, the owners or the people running it have offered them, because they have 4-wheel drive trails up there, that they could bring in the Forest Service, us, DFPA, any other fire department in the state and hold a four-wheel drive off-road course for fire trucks, wildland fire trucks and stuff. So that was kind of what got this all started again. When they did that, this property owner wrote a rebuttal saying that there shouldn't be anybody up there, we shouldn't be driving on that property and all that kind of stuff. So
Who owns it? Is it county property or?
it was county property that Champaign Creek leased. And I remember all the stuff that happened way back when, and I remember the PAC deal, because I went to a couple of them, but I don't know how that deal occurred, and I don't know who knows who, but I gotta say that what they said was gonna happen, off-road races and everything up there, it's not happening.
Yeah, well, I just know the neighbors were complaining because on a Sunday morning, they went in real nice and quiet, you know, and when they came out, it was like, you know, a road race down the hill, you know.
I haven't heard any complaints for a while, but I don't know. Anyway, as far as us, we've talked with this gentleman quite a few times, and we're kind of trying to diffuse it, and it just never works. And when he did the public records request, which it's legal in Oregon, you have the right to do that. That sets off a whole chain of events. So I can't just go up and talk to him now and say, hey, let's move this out or something. It's a legal thing now. I have to respond a certain way and do some paperwork and all that kind of stuff. And if he doesn't agree with what I do, then we're gonna have to get our lawyer and have them make a ruling on it or whatever else. But I just wanna let you know. And I get, as far as us, Oregon tries to be really transparent with all that public records stuff, but when they do that, it creates a lot of work for us. I wish I had somebody else besides Justin. I wish I had a public records request custodian or something to take care of that stuff. Anyway, whatever. It's just happening. I want you guys to know about it. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. It all depends on how he replies.
Yeah, because I mean, at this point, I mean, if he was going to litigate it, he'd have to hire an attorney too.
Yeah. And so he can only get public records too. So we would have to, if we have anything that he wants, we would have to give it to him.
Right.
If Champaign Creek is private, they don't have to give him anything. So, and I think he's trying to get something out of them. It's not going to work. Plus, one of their co-owners is a lawyer from here in Roseburg, and it's not. I don't think he's going to get anything out there. And then, so the only one I see that's really going to have an issue here is, well, one of the ladies up there we initially contacted was Caleb Ballrod, who's a really great person to contact up there for us, from DPSST. Now she has a letter and they got a waiver from, because all they wanted was a waiver from Champaign Creek saying that there's no liability involved if we go up there and we're driving around your trails and something happens, either us or you, there's no liability. So they wrote them that waiver. So there is some correspondence back and forth. And so they're gonna have to.
But that's between them and Champaign
Yeah,
Creek,
yeah,
not
it's not-
between
it's-
us as a
right,
public
it's not
entity.
DPS, so.
Okay.
So so the beef is, this person's the beef, name was Champaign Creek. And he's trying to throw monkeys in their works.
Yeah.
So the fire department, isn't there just a set of standards of, like, what kind of property or what do you have to have to do training? Like what kind of a
Well,
parcel?
yeah, so.
You know, I mean, you're just going there, like you're,
Right.
It's gotta be 1 acre in order to train on it.
For a while land.
okay,
Well,
so you meet the standards, I mean, how can
Oh,
this
we're
guy totally
we're
disrupt
past the
everything, you know?
Yeah.
Plus, we had 45 some odd people up there and about 10 pieces of apparatus.
And we have to conduct our live fire stuff, and that was another thing he was, you're talking about the live fire, and that was when fire season was out, by the way, it wasn't in yet. And there's a NFPA 1403 is the standard for doing live fire, and you gotta do so much stuff. We had lines cut, we had backup lines cut, they had cut lines with dozers, there was excavators up there, masticators up there, everything else. And, in fact, we spent
I'm not sure.
hours that morning just trying to get it lit because it's a north-facing slope. In the first place, the fuel moisture is so high, we were trying to get it lit. But anyway,
Can I take on there, sir? Can I take on?
Yeah.
I spent probably 6 months writing the plan, incident action plan. It was a notebook this thick on what we were going to do in every aspect of it. And we had to have special certified instructors, which is live fire instructor in charge, and that's not easy to get. And we had 3 or 4 of us.
It sounds like we're covering our bases. And,
Yeah.
you know, we're doing everything we can to acknowledge their complaint and address it directly. And I mean, obviously, Steve, if it goes any different, we'll deal with that as it goes down the road. So we'll
We
just,
don't get too many of those. Every few years we get a request from financial, or like a company that wants to put all our stuff online or something.
Right.
And we have to do with it, if they want names of our firefighters on
Yep.
stuff, we have to disclose that stuff,
Yep.
not private
Public information.
stuff,
Yep,
so.
public
But
information.
that hasn't happened for a few years either in our
Okay.
finances. Anyway,
Well,
Okay.
there are, you know, options,
yeah,
you know, our own ranch has been used by a wildfire, you know, location, you know, like that. You know, the police are training out there all the time.
yeah.
I mean, you got, you know, my full support, you got the whole freaking ranch, if you wanna come out there and do stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't be the first time, you know, so if there, options are needed.
All right.
We-
Okay,
we
well,
got
I'm
some-
taking, and we've done some work with other ranches around here, with live fire the last couple of years with this, and I've told this gentleman that, hey, it's not just Champagne Creek Ranch that we use.
Right.
And also, I told him that if we get the CWDG grant, if you allow us, your property's gonna be involved in this to be improved, so, anyway,
Yeah.
try to be quiet.
Trying to throw a bone. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just wait and see. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who did the big one, but we had, like, our little box canyon was, I believe, one of the home bases, and then, I mean, it was a big exercise, it spanned ranges.
Yeah.
We had the helipad there and stuff like that, I mean, it's like, yeah, so,
Okay.
whatever you guys need, we got the whole end of the road, so.
Lots of options.
Are you done, Steve?
Yes, sir.
I wanted to back up on our EMT students. The 3 of them spent 2 nights a week for 6 months, and Wednesday night, we think all 3 of them passed the state test. So they're functioning, they're gonna be functioning
Not state
EMTs.
test.
Oh, good.
The
School
school's
test.
test.
Yeah.
So they still gonna take the national test, but they're this close to being respondable.
That's great.
Yeah, they stepped up, they did a really good job.
Yeah, sounds like it. Smart people. Okay, on to old business, seismic grant,
Okay,
construction.
yeah, that one,
enforcement.
so the final submission's in.
Right.
We talked about everything else. I
Peeling,
think.
yep.
CBIG, you got the storage container, we're, after July first, I talked to you guys at the
Mhm.
next meeting, we'll be talking about that.
Not buying it.
James Moulton is,
Been
oh,
elected.
okay, the new business, so the
Yep.
new business, what we need to do right now is adopt
Budget adoption and
the
resolution.
resolution, so
So
this.
you have to read the resolution first.
Right, so I have,
Okay.
you guys all have a copy.
We do.
I've got 2 copies that are gonna have to be signed. And, I think I got a copy here too. I hope.
So we have to sign 2 copies, not just one?
Right.
Okay. How many have to sign?
Just the 3, just the 3 of you guys.
Okay, we vote.
I don't have the resolution, so.
You didn't have one yet? There you go, here, let's step 3.
No, that's yours one right here.
Pass it to Dave, and then I'll, we'll go ahead and sign the resolution, I'll do that
Yeah,
one
I'm gonna need one too, cause I gotta read it. I thought I had one.
too.
Anyway,
Here's
That was so close.
So, resolution 2501, this is the first one for this year, to adopt the fiscal year 25-26 budget, make appropriations, and impose and categorize taxes. Be it resolved, the Board of Directors of Lookingglass Rural Fire District hereby adopts the budget for fiscal year 25-26 in the total amount of $690,303. This budget is now on file at the Lookingglass Fire Station, 7173 Lookingglass Road, Rosewood, Oregon, 97471. Be it resolved that the amounts for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 25, and for the purposes shown below are our EMS and fire organizational units, $106,097. The contingency is $15,000. We're not transferring any into the equipment fund. Total of funds are $121,097. We're keeping unappropriated end balance of $25,756, which would start off next year. Total equipment fund, or total general fund requirements, $146,853. For the equipment fund, we have $71,252 in the organizational unit for fire and EMS, and a contingency of $10,000. Total equipment fund appropriations are $81,252. We'll have if everything in there, all the grants and everything went through, we have a reserve of $61,077. The total fund would be $142,329. The grant fund, fire and EMS, that's going to be the rest of the SAFER grant. We also put in for the CWDG grant, a VFA grant. There's still a communications grant maybe coming through FEMA that we're in with the count of the Central Douglas. For a total of $401,121 for this year. So total appropriations would be $603,470. Total unappropriated or also reserved for future use is $86,833. So the total budget would be $690,303. So basically, every year when we do this, the appropriation, that $603,470 means that we appropriate the maximum of all the grants and stuff, because you can't spend the money unless it's appropriated through a resolution. So be it resolved, the following ad valorem property taxes are hereby imposed for tax year 25-26 on the assessed value of all taxable property in the district, and that is in that it'll be 50.5077 per thousand. And a resolution that the taxes are categorized as identified in Article 9, Section 11B, and there's our general government limitation is 0.5077 per thousand. And we don't have anything excluded from that limitation. So the above resolution statements were approved and adopted on this 11th day of June 2025. If you guys make a motion and sign it.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll
Okay,
second.
all right. Dave, Bill, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion approved.
So the next step of that, like I said before, is we take the LD 50, the resolution and a copy of the budget to the county assessor's office, and then they'll push copies of it up to the Department of Revenue.
Okay, sounds good. Upcoming training?
What do we got coming up?
Rope ops,
Rope operation.
a couple rope ops, more while land, and helicopter's gonna land, extrication, we got a bunch.
Okay, good.
Everybody check that grant funds starting, we're still planning on starting July 1st for the wildland. I'm not sure what's gonna happen next few weeks. Actually, the weather gave us a break here for a few days, but
The very beginning of summer staffing, so they're doing Camp Ignition Point, which is a women's camp. It's 15 to 24 is I think the age group they aimed for. We had 18 students in it. It was mainly UCC and Central Doug Fire and Rescue that kind of coordinated this and kind of started throwing it together, and we're helping them do it. So we're actually supplying all the boots and gloves for the course candidates, and we'll get them back when they're done, but we're supplying all the boots and gloves, and then we're also gonna go out and help the 1st and the 2nd of next month, basically all day over at Station 3 in Melrose. They're gonna do extrication, they're gonna do fire attack, they're gonna do rope rescue or rescue systems and chainsaw use and all that kind of stuff. So they're gonna get a 3-day boot camp on how to be a firefighter.
Okay, cool. Good.
so that'll work out because we'll have some people those days too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Fire season started June 6th at 001 hours. We had one debris pile after that so far. The guy wasn't aware. It was very cordial and extinguished it, and it was very friendly. So and DFPA decided they didn't want to come out, so that there wasn't any citations or anything issued.
Okay.
And that
store, or was a debris pile to start with?
They got away also.
I got away.
We were, I'm really thankful, the pastor, Rick, was here, that's retired from Central Douglas, and then Bob, that's the command. When I went by there, it was pushing on those two old garages there in that house, and we saved it from doing that. We had their pretty
And that
manufactured.
big ass fir tree too.
Yeah.
Wow. Just fixing to
Yeah,
get
that
into
could've been,
that.
that could've been really quick.
Yep.
President's report is not here.
Well, before we do that, I
Yes.
got an item of new business.
Oh, we did? What do we have?
I do.
Oh, Dave. All right, Dave.
We mentioned it before, I want to bring it up again now that this is my last meeting. I want to get it into the new business so the next board, you guys can discuss it,
Okay.
okay? And that way I'm completely out of the loop, it's not a, and that is, start utilizing a better money market just for that, the holding money. Because the bank is obviously not interested in actually helping you earn any interest.
Right.
I just ran from this month's report, the money market balance, and I know it changes, but that's part of a money market is you can put money in and out all the time. This 178,000 sitting there right now, okay? For the last year, on the low end, it would have earned 4.5%, okay? That's $8,051 in the last year that could have been added to the bottom line. $670 a month at the current rate. Instead of what Umpqua Bank is paying us at $1.27, literal.
Yeah.
Dave,
The,
what's the rate we're giving us usually?
I don't know, it's at the bank, so basically zero.
Yeah.
101
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
So-
minimal for $1.27.
the rate is variable. I mean, it's
Right.
not just a cut and dry, you can't sign up, I get 2% this year. It's variable. Right now, for the last couple of years, it's been over 5, high 4s. It's gonna go down. Money markets don't belong that high, but they belong somewhere in the 1 to 3% is easy to get. And that's a huge difference in what Umpqua Bank is.
A 1% would still be $1,700
Right.
here,
Um,
instead of $12
Yeah.
and $13 and change.
So the way it would work is we would just tie up, it is Umpqua, right?
Yeah.
Umpqua Bank. So we would tie with Umpqua Bank, so anytime the fire department needs money, all you do is transfer the money. Money markets are actually shares, like a stock almost. So you sell out, and that, it settles in one day. The ACH or the bank gets there in 2 days. You know, some other good parts about it, it's only considered a service, it's a free service. So, like somebody like me, there's no gains to me at all. No gains to Edward, in this case Edward Jones, at all. It's a free service, it's just a cash thing that we do. So, one negative is money markets are not FDIC insured. They're insured by themselves because they literally have trillions of dollars. They can't, yeah. So it's not governed like a bank where you have the FDIC protection. But you use money markets that are extremely large and, you know, they're mature. You're not out to experiment with like a crypto coin money market. I mean, they're mature businesses. Yeah. That's really, I want to bring that up and throw it out there again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just easy, free, and it's money. And it's just like,
So Dave, how would that compare against like a CD, which a CD would still be FDIC insured?
two ways it would compare and not compare, okay? The rates will be similar, okay? CDs are elevated. They're in that 4 to 5% right now.
Right, right.
For, all that doesn't belong that high.
But
They're elevated currently. They're gonna drop down to that same,
Yeah.
well, CDs 0.5 to 1.5, once they're back where they're operating normally. Money markets, the quality of money markets that I have access to, you're gonna get earned quite a bit more, probably up to a point more, pretty regular, than anything you get off CD. But CDs lock up the money.
Right.
It's like a semi-contract.
versus a money market.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the money market is designed, I mean, to add and take away every day, it doesn't matter, nobody cares.
In our water board, we have like 6 or 7 separate ones that are coming due every 6
CDs?
months or
Yeah.
something, so when we do need it, we can get to some of them.
Yeah,
And not
and
lose penalty and everything else.
but that's what the banks have to offer.
Right.
See, I don't know if it's in the fine print that you cannot use anything but a bank, an FDIC insured bank. They don't have anything else other than a CD to offer. That's why you have to use those instead of something like
So
this.
that's a question, is there a legality issue since these are public funds?
I talked to a couple of banks about going into, I think CDs or something like that, I don't remember exactly. And there is a problem financially because it is a public fund, it's a tax, so our property tax. And so there is something, a hang up, because I discussed it with Dave earlier, and I went to the bank to find out what we could do there. And there is something, and I can't quote it, but something that says that public tax money has to go to a certain organization or something. And I don't remember it, but I'll try to dig it out for you.
There is a list the state has out of approved institutions, basically, so we could dig that up again.
And do you know, Dave, whether this meets institutions?
No, I don't, yeah, so I would
Okay.
have access to a list like
So
that.
so why don't we for
That's just
the
on the
next
Department of
meeting?
Revenue or something.
So we can find out at the next meeting, what options we have, and maybe open some discussion.
I know that 10 Mile is in the state one. What's that thing called? The long. Shoot, really, it's a long. It's a
But
like
they're,
a co-op of 501c3s that does like kind of like the same thing. It guarantees. I think they're at 3% interest right now, but you can use it like a savings account.
I do know that's one of the things that they're trying to do as well, though, is start a money market, so they put in for CWDG, that their idea is maybe they get a couple people from Lookingglass, maybe they get a couple people from Camus, and, you know, a couple people from 10 Mile, and they go out and they do these fuel mitigations, but then if the fire kicks off, they come together and they form a hand crew, and they go out and they deploy on fires. Well, you get paid when you go out and deploy on a fire. And so their idea with that is whatever they get back from the fires, they put that in a money market to keep funding that hand crew.
Oh, that's-
So that way it stays going. I don't know the legality of it, but I know another department's looking into it.
Something
Yeah,
that's
now-
So,
See, our cash, when we do cash, like if you, because I offer everything a bank can do, we do right out of my office, okay, and that's FDIC insured. Any investments is SIPC insured, which is a mimic of FIDC, just doubles the amount. Money markets are always excluded from that. Now, I assume a bank one is probably made different, because that's their product. Same with the CDs. The CDs are made at that, right down to, sometimes at that branch. Because they're just created to solve a problem that branch is having. And they literally come in the morning, drink a cup of coffee and say, what's our problem? Oh, we need some new clients. Okay, let's do a CD special and do new money only. And that's all they are. They're a bank product.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm suggesting.
Yeah.
These are worldwide,
Right.
you know, so.
Let's find out what our legality issue is. Steve, you can find out what our options are, and then we can go from there. James, you have a question before we jump on?
Yeah, you guys kind of went through a lot of it, and it could be worth looking into. I was wondering, just for like maximizing the funds, assuming it meets the legality standards, if we could switch to a rolling CD fund until it was time to go into more of a money market when rates come back down from CDs. Just because if we can get 5.5% for let's say like the next 13 months, like I think that's what OCCU is doing right now. I don't know what your guys' rates are, just on the comparative base. If you guys are similar, same thing, right? And then wouldn't it make sense to transition back to a money market, because I think it's more viable if we're actually looking for like, you know, adding money in, pulling money out, not needing to actually do like a rolling CD fund. Then we then just transfer to the money market.
Yeah, but you gotta look at the longevity. So like, basically like rolling, the other proper word for that is like a CD ladder, where you always have one maturing and repeating. Like that.
Yeah.
So, but when the bank promotes that and they put a fun word to it, like here's our Super Saver program. It's always a detail-rich, temporary program they can pull at any minute. Okay, so if they complicate it, that means there's some fishy, selfish things for that brand that they're solving a problem by doing that. So it's gonna be temporary, it's gonna be full of complications, and that I would shy away from big time. But that's just a CD ladder. You can buy them you just buy a new one every, you know.
But that's what I was wondering, is if it would make sense to do that just until rates made it sense to go back to
The
the
CDs lock up the money, so that's probably, you'll pay a penalty if you get your money out.
If you get it out.
Yeah, that's why you'd have to do the ladder, because that way you always have access to at least some of the money.
Well, let's look at some options,
Yeah.
and we can discuss that next month, so,
Well,
okay?
now that I'm not on the board, I can answer some of those
Yeah.
questions
Yeah.
a little better.
Yeah, no conflict of interest, no, we appreciate
Or
it.
you're taking notes, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
There's everything I just kind of,
okay.
that was a good curve.
Dave, you guys do it all, right?
What's that?
You guys do it all, right?
All of it, yeah.
Okay. Okay, now I'm on to President's report, which he's absent. Any directors' reports? Any board member reports? Okay. Any public comments?
I'm not public, I just want to reiterate that Dave's given us 4 years of support. I really appreciate him being here.
You're very welcome,
And get to meet him.
and I don't want to disappear either. I'm just,
Yeah, thank you, Dave, for all your service and everything that you've contributed.
So you're gonna fill out a volunteer application now, right?
Really did, 4 years.
That's it. That's it. He
I
said
don't know if that'd be a good.
Oh, he got uncomfortable.
All right, our next board meeting is July 9th. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Make a motion.
Bill?
Second it.
Dave, last second of your term.
This
All right,
term.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Meeting is ended 8:14.